And it kind of shows in a way how our main character changes into this monster, or how he transforms into this no longer devoted family man, hard worker. Hello everyone! From dramas to webtoons to novels, explore Korea's story with us. This is Who Reads Story. My name is An Sung-jin. I'm a news reporter, and we have Andrea back with us. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, my name is Andrea, I'm from Colombia, and today we are going to talk about movies.
Right, so we will be delving into Park Chan-wook's latest film, which is titled No Other Choice, which I should make sure that the title is correct.
Yeah.
This has been invited to compete at the 82nd Venice International Film Festival, and it has also received a 9-minute standing ovation, which I feel like shows a lot about the movie itself.
I have a doubt. Like when I was just seeing the first thing about the movie, it says in English,
right.
The title is No Other Choice.
Right.
So I wonder what is the title in Korean? Is the same and it's just direct translation, or how is the title?
So I mentioned in our introduction that I should make sure that the title comes out correctly as No Other Choice, because in Korean it is called 어쩔수가없다, which sorta does have a similar meaning to the English title to it, but interestingly, it's a bit unique in the sense that it has no space in between the word 어쩔수가없다.
And do you use that often? People use it often?
I feel like it's a phrase that's often used. It's not something that's unusual. I feel like it's quite commonly used, and it's a standard phrase when you want to say oh, I can't help it, but oh well, gotta do it. Gotta go with the flow. Oh well. That's the type of context that we use it, and I feel like in that sense that phrase is often used. And it's interesting because, as I just mentioned, director Park Chan-wook didn't put space in between the entire phrase, and he has purposely done it. The typography is done purposefully to make it look like a compact expression. So for us, even though we use it quite often, I feel like the reason he has done it is because he wants to show it as almost like a single exclamation. Now, if we want to delve a bit more into the movie itself, the movie No Other Choice is based on a novel, and as we mentioned, Park Chan-wook, the director, has been working on this movie. He had the intention of developing it into a film for more than 20 years. And Andrea, since, as a former book club member, please introduce what the novel itself is about that has been developed into his recent film.
Well, so the director wanted to portray somehow this movie since 2009. So
right.
Many years. But then actually it was already adapted. The film is based on an American book that is called The Axe, from Donald Westlake.
Right, so we have the main character, Man-soo, who is basically the protagonist that you've just mentioned, the novel. He also works in this paper manufacturing company. He's been worked in this company for a really long time. He's this devoted family man, but just as the protagonist from the novel, he gets fired all of a sudden. And now that he has no place to go, he basically does the same thing. He puts up all these advertisements for jobs, and he eliminates all his competitors. And it kind of shows in a way how our main character changes into this monster, or how he transforms into this no longer devoted family man, hard worker. And I feel like that process of how that changes is the main point of the film itself.
And somehow there is also a contradiction there, because
right.
He doing that is also for his family. Yeah.
Right.
So, and also for not losing this status that they already have and the life that they already have been living,
right.
what they are used to. Because when losing his job, it's not just his life,
right.
the one that changed, it's the life of the family that
right.
changed.
It's interesting because, as you just mentioned, it's not, okay, the story itself doesn't evolve around just one person, because as you mentioned, the main character, Man-soo, does all this for his family eventually, and it's impossible to not tackle the social structure or how this plot eventually evolves, because that's kind of the center of it. And as you mentioned, what's interesting is that there are some parts that are different from the original. Even though the plot kind of unfolds the same way, what we see within the novel that you've just described is that we see this brutality of the capitalistic competition, how the main protagonist kind of does this all to survive, and that's where the satire comes out. more so in Park Chan-wook's film, I feel like he expands it into the psychological drama. And as we've just already kind of delved into it, this movie itself really does have that aspect of black comedy. We've talked about social satire.
Yeah.
We've also delved into the part how it really brings out the psychological drama plus that capitalistic competition. And in a way, the way the director actually kind of unfolds it is unsettling, yet these scenes still come out to be very beautiful at the same time. And I feel like the director also uses like mise-en-scène in a very effective way to really bring out that message. And I think that's how we should delve into our next aspect of the movie, where we talk about more of the components, including music.
I think that there were a lot of scenes that were recorded like outside, like in the garden. So there was a kind of greenhouse, and I think like while you're watching the movie, you can see how like Man-soo has a really close relation like with this garden somehow, because he's taking care of the plants, he's taking care of the trees.
Right.
And later we are going to see that like this relation kind of transforms through the movie because of the activity that he does like in the garden. However, like kind of this space and how he, I don't know, somehow transform with the space.
Right.
I think it's like interesting.
So now the movie, the music of the movie. Anything memorable from any pivotal scenes that you've watched?
Well, so I think like there are like some scenes that you are just kind of having. Okay, I remember there is one scene, but I just don't want to spoil the whole thing.
Right.
But like there's one scene which one of the characters is listening to music, and then like kind of out of nowhere the volume is just going up, and then like a lot of actions are happening while like this scene is just there.
Right.
And then like the characters are interacting, but they are not able to listen to each other because of the volume of like the music.
Right.
But then their actions and the kind of the rhythm of this song kind of go along.
Right.
So while they are interacting and the song is just like there,
blasting
it's like
your ears, right?
and then it stops.
Right.
And then also like somehow it's like their actions kind of go around like with their rhythm.
Right.
So in that way, I think that it's interesting, like the use of the music, like in the movie. And I think that somehow after watching like the movie, if someone asks you probably about the music, they are going to remember that scene.
So now let's go back to the title. Since the beginning, we've mentioned how the title itself is important and has that meaning to it, both in English and in Korean. And I feel like, this title itself is almost as if it's posing a question to the movie. And I think that's why it's important. Like, really, was there no other choice for the main protagonists?
He didn't like really see like other possibility to continue with his life, because I think that probably he wants to grasp or hand on the status and the life that they have been living like for years.
Right.
So why change if I can continue living in the same way?
Right, because people inevitably, get used to what they do, and that's the tendency that people have. I want to stick with what I've used to, but also at the same time, we do know that, as you've talked about it, Man-soo could have compromised. People do make other decisions, even if they're not comfortable with it, or even if that's not what their norm is. So that is all we have for today. Thank you for being with us, Andrea. With Andrea, we've talked about director Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice. That is all we have for today's Korea Story. We will be back with another episode on Korean content next week. Till then, goodbye and thank you.